Hey, what's up guys? Devin here with Backcountry Exposure. Thanks for joining me today. Before we get started, if you are not subscribed to the channel, jump down and hit that red subscribe button. Would love for you to be a subscriber of Backcountry Exposure. But what I want to talk about today are 5 tips for new backpackers. Put a lot of thought into these 5 tips and how they might help somebody understand how to prep for a trip more and just think about the things that go through, like my mind, for example, or other people that have been backpacking for a really long time that are an important part of your backpacking experience. So the first tip that we are going to discuss is find a backpack that fits you. That might be one of the most important things that you do with your backpacking system. And the reason I say that is if you are carrying a backpack that doesn't fit you, your experience is not going to be that good. It's not going to be a quality experience. And I know that from taking students out who have never backpacked before, and if they're not carrying a pack that fits them, they're just miserable because the pack is riding weird on their shoulders, it's creating weird tension on their back, they're smaller to the back. Hip belt isn't able to cinch down tight enough to be able to carry the weight. And so the tip is go somewhere that you can try on a pack physically and get your torso length measured and all of that to be able to make sure that the pack that you purchase is something that fits your body. And the pack that I am super passionate about and love isn't necessarily going to be the best pack for you. So do your research and go physically try on packs, get your torso measured, and it will, I promise you, change your experience with the first time you go out, because nobody wants to have a bad experience carrying a bunch of weight on their back. The second tip for us to discuss is do your homework. Now you might be wondering, what does that even mean? But in terms of doing your homework, when it comes to backpacking, there's a lot of things that you need to plan for and pay attention to for the area that you might be going. Do you need to acquire permits for you to be in that place? Because some trailheads and some places only allow a certain amount of people to be using that trailhead and be on that trail at a time. And so if you're not doing your homework, getting the permits and finding out the restrictions, regulations, if you are planning to take a wood-burning stove and where you're going you can't even use a wood-burning stove, then you're in a spot where I have to make a decision to either break the rules and not get caught or face a penalty that could come from that. So do your homework and make sure that you pay attention to all of the aspects that come into play when it comes to like trip planning. That's really what I'm trying to emphasize here with doing your homework. So the third tip that we'll talk about is focus on the experience. The whole reason that you're going out into the backcountry is to be in a beautiful place. Enjoy the solitude, the peace, and the quiet that comes from going into somewhere that is not full of distractions. And so being in a beautiful place, you want to be able to experience that. Take that in, enjoy it, and create that memory. If you are so focused on other things, playing games on your phone, or do I have cell reception, or I am so focused on the gear that I forget that I'm even in a beautiful place, like you just really should focus on the experience. It will make your time out backpacking so much more enjoyable. And if you've got a backpack that fits you and you've got gear that enhances that experience, then you're gonna have a great time. So the fourth tip is going to be gear related. And what I mean by this is use the gear that you already have or have access to. There's no reason for you to go spend a bunch of money on a bunch of lightweight stuff or things that you may not know even work with the backpacking style that you enjoy. And then you are out a bunch of money, you've got a bunch of gear that you don't even know that you'll use again. So it's really important to, when you first start backpacking, use the gear that you have access to. Borrow stuff and take good care of it, because that's an important part of borrowing gear. But use the gear that you have access to. And I'll emphasize that again, you don't have to spend a bunch of money to have that good experience in the backcountry. So the fifth tip from this is probably, for me, one of the most important things that you could focus on. And that is understanding the 7 principles of leave no trace. The reason I say that is it is so important for us to take care of the places that we go backpacking, hiking, wherever we go recreate. The whole premise of Leave No Trace is to take care of the places we go and make them available for future generations. And if you think about, I own a house and I invite people over, I don't want those people to come into my house and make a mess and then just leave without cleaning up. When we go out into the backcountry, it's the same kind of thing. We're visitors, and particularly we're visiting the places where wildlife live, and so it's really important for us to respect the wildlife and take care of those places. So get on board with Leave No Trace, understand the 7 principles, and become an advocate of those Leave No Trace principles. So guys, those are my 5 tips for new backpackers. Hopefully that gives you some added education into and understanding into my brain as to how I think about backpacking and what's important about it. And it's not just about loading up a backpack, going out, building a fire. I mean, that's all elements of this experience, but hopefully those tips help you understand a little bit broader perspective of what the whole premise of backpacking is. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you subscribing. If you are not subscribed, please do. And hope you have an awesome day. Catch you on the next video. We'll see you later.